Welcome back. Namaste. This is Top Tarot Miners, and today is about the Eight of Cups. However, I did miss a card yesterday in the Seven of Cups episode, and I want to just share something with you. And it's on the table right now. This is from the Real Sky Astrology deck by Julie Kuchia Watts. And there's just something really magical in this Seven of Cups card. Sorry, yes, Seven of Cups. And I see just a magical, dreamy place. And I was talking about dreams yesterday and the ability that we all have to focus our dreams to see something through, and how often that energy becomes doesn't it's funny, I was going to use the word coagulate. It doesn't have the ability to do that, to coagulate, maybe to heal. And so it remains scattered and without purpose. And I think one of the reasons that the Tree of Life and understanding these Golden Dawn correspondences have really nailed something for me is this part low on the tree, the 7 and the 8. How important it is to balance the 4 and the 5, the 7 and the 8, these pairs that sit across from each other. And I absolutely love this gorgeous scene. Anything could be through that waterfall if we had the courage and the discipline to walk through. And I think that is one of the primary energies of the Eight of Cups, which is the topic of today's conversation. Is that the courage to move, the courage to walk through, the courage to leave, the courage to change. And if you think about the symbol, the lemniscate symbol, and what it represents, the possible association of the Strength card and that idea of fortitude and courage. And here we are at this first decan of Pisces. And it's very interesting whether we go from 7 of Cups to 8 of Cups, or decanically speaking, we go from 7 of Swords to 8 of Cups. In either pairing, we are being asked to reflect upon a change and to do something about a change. And I feel like in all of the 8s, there's an action that is required, and that it is something that's going to take us to a whole new level, to a whole new place. However, we're going to need to dig deep. If your deck or you correspond the 8 with justice, then think about the idea of justice as adjustment, and how we have the power of free will to slightly shift the energy of those scales, whether that's through letting go of something or taking an action to affect change. It's really important here that there is a sense of movement. We are deep in the water, right? This is a very watery suit. And I think one of the greatest gifts here is one of letting go. And there's some really poignant cards on the table today that I want to share with you. There's a couple that have this. This is the Wildwood Tarot. This is the Tarot of St. Croix. And I think I've shared this story before in terms of these cards. It just reminds me of towards the end of out of Africa, where Karen Blixen has learned her lesson, and she releases her pond back to where it's meant to go. And emotionally, a very powerful scene. Water wants to flow, and you can think about 8 as a double 4, a double, the potential for double stagnancy, right? The pond, the structure of the 4 becomes higher and higher, and so we absolutely must release some water here and let it go home, let it flow back to the ocean. And when this happens to us emotionally, it can be very, actually, I'm going to read to you from the lovely Om, this one here, from the guidebook. Sometimes it can be a very long journey, but we do indeed leave often something that is, you can call it stagnant, you can call it toxic. It no longer serves. And we make a decision that change is what we're going to do with this. This is a swamp. You can see spilled cups on the shore at the right front. A murky environment filled with mosquitoes and reptiles, old water, old trees, and ancient animals live here. There is much history. The crocodile, which represents one's instinctual nature, and the woman are both going their own ways. It appears that they must have passed each other on the path, but may not have noticed. They travel by rote memory, failing to see what is around them. And in this way, I feel sometimes that there is almost a calling, right? There's a calling home, like the salmon is called home to lay its eggs, or the eel is called home to the Sargasso Sea, the long journey. Stagnant waters have become putrid, just like stagnant emotions. And in a relationship, when feelings are not shared or when they are bottled up, they grow out of proportion and become volatile energies. Anger and resentment replace what was once beautiful and nourishing. The cups that once held the love are now broken and corrupted. So whether it is to that particular degree, there is a letting go that, and I'm just thinking of these scales of Ma'at. I recently rewatched the TV series Manifest. And one of the things that they realize at the end of the story is how important letting go of grudges, forgiveness is. Forgiveness is never about condoning another's actions, but it is something that will free yourself, that will cut cords. And whether this release, this letting go, is cutting a cord to forgive yourself or to forgive another, it will create a lightness, and a lightness in your heart. And the heart will weigh lighter. And so in that way, I can connect this card so beautifully to the justice card. But like I said, it's amazing how this eight number has such rich correspondences, both from strength, justice, and the symbol, the infinity symbol. So that's the lovely Om. This is the Hesychos Tarot, and we see the figure climbing up the right cliff. I almost wonder in this card if they are climbing to gain new perspective, sometimes we climb to know our strength as well too. It's like a test of mettle to navigate a difficult trail or a difficult mountain. And so what do we gain or lose in that process? And how does that help with change and reset? Well, great things. Often these are spiritual journeys. Maybe they don't start out as a spiritual pilgrimage, but often end up presenting in that way. I wanted to include the lily black rather than the lily white today in this Eight of Cups discussion, because I see that waterfall sort of image that I shared with you from this Seven of Cups card in the Real Sky Astrology deck. And here the understanding is that we're going to take this one step at a time and carry on this path. It's almost as if the cups are there as guardians, protecting us as we leave, like in a leaving ceremony. It's like this is the opposite of an initiation. And remember that water also cleanses. And so there's something very beautiful about the water that surrounds this card and the fact that we may have to walk through a waterfall. Now, metaphorically, you could take that in a few different ways. Walk through a waterfall to find your new place or your new way of being. Eight of Cups. Okay. This has been a favorite ever since I had the Sasarabito Tarot. And this is a perfect example of the letting go of something that creates the emotional freedom, the change in the Eight of Cups, cutting one's hair. And I know this sometimes happens. This happens at death in some traditions. It can happen after a breakup. And my particular story is one where you enter an ashram and you are on a spiritual pilgrimage, and part of that is an option to cut and then shave your head. And it really is letting go of an attachment, right? We're often very attached to our hair, and there is a lightness and a freedom and a vulnerability, of course, that comes with all of that. And it can be truly overwhelming, and I do not want to downplay the overwhelming nature of this card. You could be completely inundated with tears in this kind of situation. And yet it is so important that you step and you step and you step and you move. This is a card of movement, right? You want to make sure that you are moving in the Eight of Cups. Okay. I just need to go to my notes. And all right, we have a couple other cards on the table. We have Bohemian Gothic, and this is the Herb Crafter Tarot. Okay, so let's start with the Bohemian Gothic. So one thing I didn't give you today was a card that was from the viewpoint of those who are left behind. And I'm just thinking of a deck I looked at yesterday. I almost pulled that card out, where you can see the you can see the cups or a room or something that is left behind. And that can be quite a can make you swallow, pause to see it from that way. Often the perspective is from the one who is leaving, not from what has been left behind or who has been left behind. And in this particular card, she is looking back and acknowledging what is left behind, and her guide is waiting for her, and together they will turn and go towards that beautiful light, which looks an awful lot like the waterfall in the distance. Okay. Now, when I think of the opening through which the water flows in these cards, this magical opening here, the opening that is created in the Hesychos, perhaps the waterfall itself. This is highly symbolic as well, too. When we go through great change, there's often a portal that needs to be navigated in some way. And you can use the metaphor of the eye of the needle. It can feel quite, like you're being squeezed through. You wonder if you will actually make it. And I mentioned this test of metal. You're being tested here. And through the eye of the needle, we can't carry everything. If you were walking through a waterfall, or you were climbing a mountain, or you were going on a long journey, or you were, sneaking away in the night, you need to travel lightly. And certainly there is this quality that is enhanced through the decanic association of Saturn. And so, hi, Suraj. I'm not doing readings today. I'm just sharing thoughts on the Eight of Cups card. If that's why you're here, welcome to you. And welcome to Amelia. Namaste. So just keep that in mind. In the energy of Pisces, we have this need to expand. And the way that I read the tarot, Pisces is ruled by Jupiter. So there's this expansive, kind of exploratory, and also Jupiter as the great guru energy. So here in this first decan, it's like we need to go through the eye of the needle before we expand. So that's something that helps to make sense of this card for me. And then the final one that I have to share with you today is the Valerian card from the Herb Crafter Tarot. And I'll read you these beautiful words from Letitia Guthrie. Exhaustion makes the simplest things feel insurmountable. You may be overextended and weary. Do you need to step away from commitments? Invite time for retreat. Like the calming energy of the sanctuary, pull back from it all, be still and recuperate. Valerian is a valuable tea for those who struggle to rest and relax. If a lack of control over the situation has led to anxiety, invite sleep and consult the dream time. Valerian is a pungent medicine. Slowing down may not be a pleasant experience at first, but it is the only way to become strong again. So like the metaphor of the eye of the needle, there is this process to move through. And I like this idea of calming the nerves with a tea like Valerian in this situation. because sometimes when the emotions are so overwhelming, we need strategies, breathing strategies, medicinal teas, therapy to help us carry on and go forward. This is not an easy part of the journey, the 8, 9, 10. This is major transition. And this is also moving into the end of the year. And the 8, 9, 10 of Cups, Pisces season, the final zodiacal sign of the astrological wheel. Sometimes I feel like we have absorbed so much. And this is a place of journeying. It's the final leg. And all of perhaps the emotions of the entire wheel of this year have accumulated here. And we have an opportunity for amazing change in these cards. Yeah. I look forward to talking about the 9 and 10 of Cups over the next few days. All right, so my top 5 cards are Sasrabito, without a doubt. And I really do like these nature-based cards here. I think it says a lot. The Bohemian Gothic is a really nice perspective. So what will I select? I actually wish I had the one out where I had the cups from this side of the room, but it's a lot. As I've mentioned, I'm going through decks, trying to find just the right cards for these chats. And it is sometimes difficult to always have the right decks on the table. So there we go. Top 5 8 of Cup cards for today, left to right, are Bohemian Gothic, Bob Studios deck, Sasrabito, Tarot of St. Croix, and then the Wildwood Tarot, and then Lily Black. That is the Lily Black by Celia Millsville. Yeah, and if you are interested in my courses, everything is linked down below in the description box, and I would always suggest starting with this course. It is a 22-week course, kind of a big endeavor, but it is a brilliant way to, if you've learned a bunch of things before, to help you bring things together as well, to solidify and also expand your understanding of the tarot. Yeah. And I did have a sale going on, and that ended yesterday. But if you are interested, I could go to the website and extend that for one more day for 24 hours. So if you give me a few minutes, I'll do that if you're interested. Okay? And then you can use the coupon Back to School 25. Thank you for being here, and I will see you in the next episode. Take good care. Namaste.